Welcome to the Ace game. Sirlami had faction selection this game. Went over Commando West. Which means that we're going to see even more engineer spam. This time, instead of rear echelon troops or PIOs, it's going to be Soviet combat engineers. All forms of PIO spam being tested in this series, except for Sturm PIO spam, which probably could be made to work, to be fair. Probably could be made to work. I'd be curious to see that attempted as well, but 3 out of 4 is not bad. Let's see how Soviet Combat Engineer spam does. They're going to engage against Sturm PIOs initially over here on the left and get a really lucky early snipe. That burst is bringing the squad there down pretty quickly, but Sturm PIOs just got nailed. Got nailed by a couple of good Combat Engineer shots. They're going to be forced to retreat. So RedxWings is maybe going to win the engagement for the south with 3 squads of Combat Engineers sent down here. He forces an early retreat from Sturm PIOs and is going to now be contending against these Volksgrenadiers with superior numbers. This squad jumping into the church, securing vision, continuing its advance. RedxWings do not, or not RedxWings, Combat Engineers do not have any access to any form of ghost that can block and destroy a SWS the way rear echelon troops do, so even though this is falling low, I think it'll get away. Jeez, it's going down faster than I thought it was going to. RedxWings might pick this up. Maybe not. He's getting the bounces he needs, and Sturm Pioneers have arrived just in time. Save the engagement. RedxWings will be forced to retreat right there. Combat Engineers flooding into the south to engage against Volksgrenadiers, however, might win this engagement. Not closing into too short range with this squad as he captures the fuel. This one will jump into close range. RedxWings completely abandons his capture attempt with fuel point to force this retreat, charging them, fully committing to the engagement, forcing the retreat, turning back into the capture circle. With all of these squads, he's taken only 1 loss. I think all models have green cover against that squad, so he will win this. Unless support arrives, but Sturm Pioneers had to stick around for more reinforcements. SWS is not set up yet. RedxWings has taken control of most territory in the north, throwing down mines here. And I'm pretty sure I've seen RedxWings Combat Engineer spam strategy before. If you've watched my Starcross casts, I think you may also be familiar with it. I think from this point it's going to transition into 2 shocks and then Su-76s. So see if he can make it work. I've seen him make it work before. He beat Gia. He beat God as an Astronaut on road to Kharkov using this build. Which road to Kharkov you'd think would favor the Axis even. So on a more medium range map, maybe he'll have even more success. Forces a retreat from those Volksgrenadiers. Combat Engineers jump into the building. And Combat Engineers are taking control of these 2 sectors, so Sirlami rapidly losing control of the entire map. He is cut off from the territory he has there in the north. Will we ever see a 2v2 tournament? Starcross Cup 1 was a 2v2 tournament that I ran. Since then I've only done 1v1 events, and I have no plans to do 2v2 again. Really, I think 1v1 is more fun to cast competitively. It's more fun for me anyway to watch. It's a lot easier to organize, like way easier. So, and you can get away with a smaller prize pool. So for a various host of reasons, I don't really have any intention of doing another 2v2 event.
This is it. Contact! Infantry assaulting!
But Starcross Cup 1 was fun. I did enjoy it.
Shock troops awaiting deployment.
All 3 squads in the south are going to retreat off the battlefield for healing here in the base. Shock troops have been fielded. There's the first one. Ooh, what was that? Mine? Mine. 3 Volks Grenadiers killed by that mine. There's other mines sprinkled around the battlefield. Stern Pioneers have a minesweeper, but of course, there's only 1 squad of Stern Pioneers, and their minesweeper radius is awful, so Sirlami is going to have to advance back up across this battlefield very carefully. Shock troops are going to maybe find an opportunity right here, trying to lie in wait behind this building outside of his opponent's vision range, but they will get spotted. He definitely knows they're there. He's just going to have to try and manage the threat they pose as well as he can. Currently making their way up the red cover road towards the north. Going to get that strategic point captured. They take a wide path around the house to make sure that they don't get caught at short range. Or simply continue their advance through the middle. Stern Pioneers will be able to take the south safely, but it's actually the only part of this map that doesn't have any mines or demo charges. Another mine detonated by Fusiliers there in the middle. Sirlami has bled hard every time he tries to advance. Combat engineers move to take control of the munitions right there. And I think there's tier 4. So Su-76s are going to start making their way onto the battlefield soon. RedxWings is spending all of his munitions on mines, but has saved up enough for 1 flamethrower here. Gonna make its way towards the middle. Shock troops moving in on the Fusiliers right here. And they make it into short range without even taking any damage, I think, so that's an easy retreat to force, and the flamethrower slash combat engineer blob right here will easily force away those Volks Grenadiers. Stern Pioneers will get the victory point here in the south, so the clock will at least keep ticking against RedxWings a little. Sirlami is in a tough situation. He needs to try and find a way to turn it around. Having chosen breakthrough, 3 squads of Fusiliers, 3 squads of Volks Grenadiers, he should be able to eventually beat RedxWings infantry, upgrading with his first squad, G43 upgrade now. Try and start winning infantry engagements. He keeps his infantry together and just outblobs RedxWings. You should be able to start taking infantry engagements because they're just combat engineers. These 2 squads moving on the flank of this green cover wall across the road in the south, while the rest of these forces make their way to try and brute force the engagement for the middle. He will need to try to keep it range away from those flamethrowers. The red cover road should make that easier to focus fire them down. This flamethrower going down very quick. Late reaction by RedxWings. He retreated the wrong squad, and now this one has to try and recover the flamethrower, running through red cover, getting gunned down fast. They pick up that flamethrower and the other one explodes, so much for that. Everything else here will be forced to retreat. Stern Pioneers spotted that Soviet mine on the retreat. I'm not sure if Sirlami noticed though. 2 squads of shock troops working on the munitions here in the south, and the Su-76 is in production now. Combat engineers get interrupted in their attempt to plant a mine right there on the road, and they'll be forced to retreat.
Lock bolts, prepare to move.
What was that? Oh. G43 squad hits a mine in the south. I can't keep track of all these mines. They're everywhere.
Stand ready.
Fusiliers get control of this territory. Stern Pioneers are going to go north to support that squad and try and clean up any other mines that might be up here. I don't think RedxWings has any others planted in this area. Fortunately, so should be able to get that territory under his control. He's already stepped on 3 or 4. He needs to be careful about that one, by the way. He never swept that up, so I don't think he knows that's there. That's going to make his retreat path dangerous. Su-76 takes a shot at the Fusilier squad right there. They've got to retreat. Moves up to take shots at these Volks Grenadiers, but the main gun's not that useful, so he's going to go for a crush maneuver instead. Kills one of them. And the rest are just going to retreat out of this engagement. Don't think they can win. No, Shock's moving up on the flank, also get control of the cutoff right here. Su-76 is moving very aggressively towards the battle group. Snipes one Volksgrenadier, but Raketenwerfer's on the field, and now it's going to have to pull back for repairs. Meanwhile, Sirlami taking control of the north with the Sturmpyos and Fusiliers up here. Get the victory point ticking against RedxWings again, slowly. Volksgrenadiers jumping in this building are taking heavy flamethrower damage. There's the retreat. And RedxWings' second Su-76 is in production now. He might move up for another high explosive barrage soon. The cooldown on this is quite long, so he has to wait. Has to wait for a little while. Two flamethrowers available for an engagement against these G43s, maybe. If RedxWings were to get into that squad's retreat path, there might be some wipe potential. But it doesn't look like he's going to try anything like that. Su-76 is going to try and get into close range for a lucky shot, maybe. Bit of a late reaction. Here it comes. There it goes. Retreats just in time. The shot is slightly off target. Two squads in the north have chased Sirlami off with shock troops and flamethrower. Or no, just regular combat engineers. So they're going to get the clock ticking against him once again. He's fallen to 393 VPs. Clock's going to start ticking against him once RedxWings gets this triple cap going, getting all 3 victory points under his control here. Sirlami trying to make his way to Jagdpanzer, I think. He's just maintaining this core, by the way, which is giving him a bit of manpower float. Up to 660 manpower. Might consider maybe a second Raketenwerfer. If he does that, he'll be sort of vulnerable to the shocks and flamethrowers, though, so... Just I think a little bit more infantry for Sirlami could probably help him in his current situation. And he doesn't need to worry about armor punishing his infantry too much, as long as he can avoid getting wiped by high explosive barrages. The Su-76s are not very useful against infantry beyond that. Shock troops getting focused down by 3 squads, 2 moving up on their flank. Grenade tossed by those shocks to try and turn the engagement, but Sirlami will dodge. The shock troops have to pull back to safety. Both Su-76s are going in for a crush maneuver right here, which they will not succeed in. But they're going to retreat anyway, just to avoid getting hit by a high explosive barrage or crush or anything like that. Flamethrower moving up on the house right here. The triple cap against Sirlami will be maintained. Squads making an attempt for the south look like they will fail. Squad of combat engineers gets caught in the road. There's the retreat right there. Flamethrower right here on the strategic point nails the Fusilier squad. And they get caught out of position by multiple flanking squads of infantry and are also pushed off the battlefield. And I think from this point forward, RedxWings goes Su-85? I think that's what's on its way next. Probably Su-85. He's also chosen terror tactics, which will give him access to a bomb run, which he might end up using on the OKW trucks. Something of that nature. If he can get in range for some Su-76 shots on that structure, now that the Raketenwerfer's been chased off. Nice hit right there on that Fusilier squad. Damages that heavily, and that'll be forced out of this engagement. What was that? Oh, it hit the telephone pole. What? That one just exploded in midair for no reason. Okay. That was weird. Well, either way, Sirlami will weather the storm. No serious wipes. 4th squad of Fusiliers fielded in addition to the Jagdpanzer. Now that the Jagdpanzer's out, the Su-76s will have to be a little bit more careful. It only takes 2 shots for the Jagdpanzer to destroy one of those. Will no longer be able to position themselves so aggressively. 292 VPs remaining for Sirlami as he gets that tank destroyer on the field. Ooh, was that a wipe? Volksgrenadier squad wiped on that mine. Ouch. Lucky mine. Grenade tossed in the building. Good value for Red Wings, spending 30 munitions. That's a full minute's worth of munitions for Sirlami right now, just by jumping in a house with a vanilla combat engineer squad. Really draining his opponent's resources. Fusilier blob in the road against flamethrower buddies. I've decided that that 2 units is not a blob, it's buddies. Flamethrower buddies are forced to retreat. One of them explodes. Reckenwerfer gets a lucky snipe on those shock troops. Grenade toss on the Reckenwerfer will wipe it. They made an awkward retreat maneuver right there. Fusilier's trying to work on this squad of shock troops. Look like they might lose the engagement. They're just too tanky. Maybe. Shock troops win the engagement. Fusiliers are forced to retreat. Red Wings will secure himself vision of the Jagdpanzer right there. Throws a smoke grenade in front of it. Just to block it from firing for a while, I guess. I'm not sure what. His shock troops are looking for some kind of opportunity here. Combat engineers will recover the Reckenwerfer and retreat. Jagdpanzer is not able to do anything about that. Field gun moves up. Field gun gets a shot on the Jagdpanzer before pulling back. The Reckenwerfer will also get away. Fresh squad of shock troops moving up from the south flank has to dodge a crush maneuver by the Jagdpanzer right there. That mine! Ooh, that devastating mine! 5 of 6 Fusiliers wrecked. I thought that was actually going to kill some shock troops too, but they get away with no models lost. But Sirlami is keeping the clock slowed. He's not letting himself get triple capped for any super long amount of time. He always seems to have at least 1 victory point. Trying to buy himself time while he looks for some sort of strategy here. He's just not making much progress on any front. Every time he tries to advance, he explodes on mines is the main thing. He's just really having trouble with mines. They're everywhere, bleeding him hard. His infantry are able to win engagements with G43s in superior numbers against combat engineers, but every time they hit a mine and are forced to retreat back into the base, it's a huge setback. Field gun gets cleared right there, and the Jagdpanzer might find an opportunity here to kill the Su-76s. Red Wings has not gone Su-85, he's gone KV-8. Reckenwerfer set up in the building, looks like it's going to get forced out by Fusiliers here if it doesn't retreat soon. The field gun is destroyed entirely by the Jagdpanzer. Reckenwerfer nails it with a couple good shots though. KV-8 is on its way to try and scare those Fusiliers off, save the Reckenwerfer, and the Su-76s are going to move up from the rear, maybe take some shots on this blob. Currently, both of them have their high explosive barrage on cooldown. The Jagdpanzer takes a shot at the KV-8, moves up a little more aggressively. The Fusiliers have all spread out into a very dispersed formation so that the Su-76s can't just nail them all with high explosive barrage. The flanks have been retaken by Red Wings. The Jagdpanzer has to be very careful. I think it's 2 Su-76 shots from being destroyed. Maybe. Propaganda artillery over here on the right side by Red Wings to pin and force retreats on these infantry. If these squads move too close, moved way too close into the propaganda artillery right there, they're getting pinned. If they get forced to retreat, Jagdpanzer may be dangerously exposed. Su-76s are firing onto this group of forces. Fortunately, nothing is connected quite yet. I don't know why Sirlami would wait around on this retreat. He's just asking for it. Fortunately, the Su-76 is firing at that range, just couldn't quite hit anything, and all infantry will get clear. Just in time. The shock troops are on their way to try and force him to retreat. Sirlami will slow the clock once again with the capture of a victory point in the south, try and prevent further triple caps, but he's only got 150 victory points left.
You can now use propaganda against the enemy again.
So
supply lines have been cut. Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
Fusiliers forced back into the base. Cutoff is falling into Red Wings' control again, further slowing and hurting Sirlami's economy. 5 squads of Fusiliers on the field now. He just continues to try and outproduce RedxWings as well as he can, but a build this infantry-centric plus the loss of his Raketenwerfer makes him quite vulnerable to the KV-8 more than anything. The Jagdpanzer is his only hard counter to that. He has to absolutely make sure not to lose this unit, because he certainly can't afford to replace it. Volksgrenadiers have to retreat. Propaganda artillery also forces some retreats and further delays Sirlami in his capture of VPs in other territory. Grenade toss right there from the shock troops. Fusiliers plus Volksgrenadiers might actually wipe that, making a very late retreat. Gets away just in time. High explosive barrage on the Fusiliers also makes them retreat. The Jagdpanzer scares. Su-76 is off.
Supply sector under attack. Fear propaganda can once again be unleashed. The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
KV-8 working on these infantry here in the middle, trying to push them back into the base again. Only 145 points remain for Sirlami, who continues to make no progress. The Jagdpanzer is actually in a little bit of danger here. If the Su-76s get any more lucky penetrations, it will go down. Sniped from maximum range. The Jagdpanzer is destroyed. The KV-8 is going on a rampage through the base, now almost completely uncountered, and it is crushing and burning infantry to death. And there isn't really anything that Sirlami can do about it, although there is a Raketenwerfer rolling onto the field. He has slowed the victory point drain in the north, but the loss of his Jagdpanzer I don't think is one he could afford. He has only 4 fuel coming in right now. Losing infantry squads. This one looks like it's going to be the first to go. Volksgrenadier is already wiped. And that Jagdpanzer just could not afford to go down. It really couldn't. And it looks like Combat Engineer spam into 2 shocks, 2 Su-76s, 2 KV-8s will win the day for RedxWings. 2 out of 3 is not bad on his Engineer spam builds. GG. RedxWings takes the series and is the new Star-Crossed King.